You know that person who aced every test, understood everything faster than anyone else in the room, could see solutions nobody else could see, and yet somehow, inexplicably, can't seem to get their life together? Yeah, that's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. And it's one of the most fascinating paradoxes in all of psychology. Here's what nobody tells you about smart people. Intelligence, real, genuine, high-level intelligence, comes with a specific set of psychological traps that average performers never fall into. Not because smart people are broken, but because the very mechanisms that make them brilliant also make certain things quietly, persistently harder. Let's start with the one that surprises everyone. Smart people overthink. Not occasionally, chronically. Where an average performer sees a decision, a highly intelligent person sees 17 variables, 4 possible outcomes, and 12 ways it could go wrong. They don't just think about the problem, they think about thinking about the problem. And while they're still analyzing, someone less qualified has already started, failed, learned, and started again. Psychologists call this analysis paralysis, and research consistently shows that higher cognitive ability correlates with greater tendency to overthink outcomes, not less. The brain that can see every possibility gets trapped by it. But here's where it gets deeper. Smart people often have what researchers call a high need for cognitive closure, except inverted. They resist simple answers because they know things are more complex. So they stay in the question longer than anyone else, which sounds like wisdom. And sometimes it is. But in the real world, done is almost always better than perfect. And smart people struggle with done. Then there's the expectation trap. From early childhood, smart people are told they're gifted, special, that things will come naturally to them. And for a while, they do. School rewards raw intelligence. Tests reward quick processing. Early life tells them that being smart is enough. But then the real world arrives. And the real world doesn't reward being smart. It rewards showing up consistently, handling failure without collapsing, building relationships, tolerating discomfort, and doing unglamorous work for a long time before results appear. Nobody prepared them for that part. So when smart people hit their first real wall, a skill that doesn't come immediately, a goal that requires years, not weeks, a failure that can't be thought away, they don't just struggle. They question their entire identity. If I'm smart and I'm failing, what does that mean about me? This is what psychologist Carol Dweck spent decades studying. Her research on fixed versus growth mindset found that high-ability individuals are actually more likely to develop fixed mindsets, not less. Because when intelligence becomes your identity, difficulty becomes a threat to that identity. The person who was always the smart one has the most to lose by trying and failing publicly. So they stop trying things they might fail at, which is exactly the kind of risk that success requires. And then there's the boredom problem. Smart people get bored faster than almost anyone. They master the basics quickly, lose interest, and move on before they've gone deep enough to build something real. They become experts at the surface of many things and masters of nothing. Not because they lack discipline, but because their brain is always hungry for the next new thing, the next unsolved problem, the next interesting idea. Consistency feels like a cage to a mind that was built for novelty. Here's something that rarely gets said. Smart people are often terrible at asking for help. Because asking for help requires admitting you don't know something. And not knowing things is supposed to be someone else's problem. So they struggle alone, quietly, longer than they should, rather than reach out and lose the identity they've built their entire self-worth around. And relationships? Smart people can struggle profoundly with emotional intelligence. Not always, but often. They can intellectualize feelings instead of processing them. They can debate instead of connect. They can be right in an argument and completely lose the relationship. Because being right and being effective are two very different skills, and only one of them was ever rewarded in school. Here's the real psychology underneath all of this. Success has never been purely about intelligence. It has always been about a specific combination: intelligence plus resilience, intelligence plus consistency, intelligence plus the ability to tolerate failure without dissolving. Remove any one of those, and the intelligence becomes almost irrelevant. The smartest person in the room is not always the most successful, but the person who shows up when it's boring, tries when it might not work, asks for help without shame, and keeps going after failure, that person wins almost every time. Intelligence is the starting point, never the finish line. If this one made you think, subscribe to Mind Candid. New psychology deep dives every week.